Knights in shining armor, ladies in flowing gowns, gloomy castles. Why are we so obsessed with the Middle Ages? You can tell that the epoch is important by looking at the games and romance novel settings. Pay special attention to Halloween costumes. That tells a lot about the ideals of our society. Today, we'll explore how the Middle Ages went from being dismissed as the Dark Ages to becoming the ultimate golden age of our imaginations. It involves revolutions, industrial misery, and some very creative artists and storytellers. At the end of the 18th century, during the Enlightenment, educated Europeans and Americans idealized ancient Greece and Rome. Everything that happened after the fall of the Roman Empire was dismissed as the Dark Ages, a time when literacy declined, semi-pagan saint cults emerged, and clergy were willing to sell indulgence even to the most blatant criminals. In truth, people knew very little about the Middle Ages. Humanities education in schools and universities was centered on studying Greek, Latin, and ancient texts. But the aesthetics of the Enlightenment didn't inspire everyone. This was also the time of the French Revolution, the Napoleonic Wars, and the dawn of industrialization. To many, it was clear that progress had taken a wrong turn. Cities were transforming into grimy slums. Once centers of craftsmanship and trade, they became industrial hubs full of soot, waste, and hazardous working conditions. Add to this the inability to change one's social status. Early capitalism left ordinary people powerless and unprotected. Want a vivid picture of what that life was like? Read Dickens or Marx. In the 19th century, the soul of an educated person craved moral grounding in the past, something inspiring, filled with heroism, true love, and noble ideas. People longed for a golden age, a time far better than their bleak present. It offered hope. If such an era existed before, then maybe, just maybe, it could come again. But Europeans didn't want to borrow Greece or Rome's golden age. They wanted one of their own. Enter folklorists like the Brothers Grimm, artists, and, of course, writers. They turned to medieval romances, which left out the harsh realities of life and celebrated love for noble ladies, heroic deeds, and devotion to ideals, exactly what people needed at that time. Sir Walter Scott's Ivanhoe sparked a true craze for historical novels set in the Middle Ages. At the same time, Gothic literature, dark, moody, yet romantic, was gaining traction. The imagined Middle Ages we adore today wouldn't exist without the illustrators of children's fairy tales. They created the iconic images: long-haired maidens in silk gowns, knights in shining armor, and castles that look more like wedding cakes than fortresses. Fun fact, the Disney castle logo is a nod to this aesthetic. Before TV and the internet, the average person's understanding of history came from magazine illustrations and playing cards that were adorned with medieval imagery, tying it to fun, celebration, and a sense of adventure. The Middle Ages began to feel less like a fairy tale and more like something tangible when painters like Dante Gabriel Rossetti, William Morris, and Edmund Layton got involved. The fascination deepened as industrialists and their wives sought homes that embodied their vision of a dream house. In their eyes, the kings and queens of the world should reside in Victorian-era versions of fairy tale castles. This demand sparked the rise of the Neo-Gothic architectural style. Remember London's Tower Bridge? It looks medieval, but it was built in 1894. Many medieval castles in Germany were actually constructed in the 19th century by Romanticism-obsessed aristocrats or industrialists. Even in America, wealthy landowners and businessmen joined the trend. Curious what their homes look like? Check out Facebook groups for old house enthusiasts. Real estate agents often post fascinating photos of such properties for sale. Theater embraced the medieval theme, and soon filmmakers followed. Characters like Robin Hood, Joan of Arc, crusaders, knights, and kings became pop culture staples. The real explosion of medieval fascination, however, came with the birth of epic fantasy. Tolkien's The Lord of the Rings opened up a new dimension, and the genre took off. Baby boomers, the children of the greatest generation who had endured World War II, grew up hearing tales of their parents' bravery and resilience. They longed for self-discovery, justice, and love, yet the reality around them offered little more than monotonous 9-to-5 jobs and trivial disputes like whose tree was shedding leaves onto whose lawn. The Vietnam War was nothing like a quest for the Holy Grail, and even the much dreaded nuclear apocalypse kept being perpetually delayed. While the hippie movement was the visible expression of this yearning for something more exciting, another phenomenon was quietly unfolding behind closed doors. Young people were immersing themselves in stories of other worlds where they could envision lives brimming with purpose, lofty ideas, and meaningful accomplishments. Then, in 1977, something extraordinary happened. The imagined Middle Ages fused with science fiction, creating a remarkable hybrid, Star Wars, where sword fights and princesses coexisted with space travel. But that's a story for another time. My name is Elvira Bary. I'm an author, and if you find today's story interesting, please give this video a thumbs up. Since I don't support the war in Ukraine, I can no longer publish my books in Russia, and I'm rebuilding my audience from scratch right here on YouTube. If you'd like to help me rise from the ashes, please support this video with your likes, comments, and subscriptions. In 2025, I'll be releasing my novel Russian Treasures, a story I've been working on for 20 years. Think of it as the Russian Gone with the Wind. If you enjoy stories about strong, clever characters navigating crazy time while uncovering fascinating details about the Russian Revolution and the early Soviet years, be sure to subscribe to my waiting list. The link is in the description.